ways that make sense to working folk like you and me. And Dr. Cornel West will be there, the brilliant philosopher and activist who never stops fighting for justice and speaking truth to power and to the powerless for that matter. So this isn't just another conference. This is where ideas get tested, where the conversations that shape our future begin. Multiple plenary sessions, dynamic speakers, real talk about the issues that impact our communities, and then some good food and a live band. Saturday, October 25th, LA Trade Tech, Left Coast Farm. The event is free and open to the public, but you must register at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can also peep the plenary topics. The future belongs to those who show up and engage. So don't just think about change, be part of the conversation that creates it. The Left Coast Forum is brought to you by the LA Progressive, the Empowerment Congress, Community Coalition, Partnership for Growth LA, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, LA Care Health Plan, United Teachers Los Angeles, Black Progressive Action Coalition, St. John's Community Health, the National Lawyers Guild, the Weingart Foundation, and more. Space is limited, so if I were you, I'd register right now at KBLA1580.com. Your voice matters, your presence matters. We'll see you there. All these years later, it still works. It still works. If you're having a conversation about boxing, you can always rely on the theme from Rocky. In this hour, two conversations on the B side. We'll be joined by Robin Campbell and Jimmy Brown, two founding members of the iconic reggae band UB40, talking about their current U.S. tour. We'll do that on the back side of this hour. We commenced this hour, speaking of the music, with boxing historian Mike Silver, who's on to talk about his new book, When in Doubt, Stop the Bout, a revolutionary approach to boxing safety and reform. Just a few weeks ago, everybody was talking about boxing. That big fight between Canelo and Crawford, which Bud Crawford won, I think, pretty handily. But Mike Silver, good to have you on this program, sir. How are you today?
I'm fine, Tavis. I'm fine, and thank you for having me.
It's good to have you on. So in this book, When in Doubt, Stop the Bout, Mike Silver presents a shocking expose of the sordid underbelly of professional boxing and uncovers the sport's criminally flawed infrastructure, as he calls it, and those responsible for it, from compromised referees to poorly trained ringside physicians to an insidious cartel of sanctioning organizations approving dangerous mismatches, if I can say it. Mike lays bare the corruption, the negligence, and the incompetence that has made a dangerous sport even more dangerous as he sees it. Before I get into all of that and inside the book expressly, Mike, remind me, share with the audience how boxing became your thing. How did you become a boxing fan? I mean, you're a boxing historian that we all know, but how did boxing become your sport?
You know, it happened when I was just about becoming 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And I found out that that's usually the age that we boxing fanatics get bitten by the boxing bug. And it's hard to explain. It's like asking somebody, when did you decide that ballet was your passion, or jazz was your passion, or acting was your passion? I think it's something that's a combination of genetics and a combination of how you view the world. It's something in a person. I cannot explain it. I became obsessed with boxing. I started training in a gym. I had a few amateur fights, and I couldn't get enough of it. I lived for boxing. And now, without giving away my age, I will say I've been watching fights for about 60 years, okay? Mm-hmm. That's a long time. I started as a kid, and so I've seen many changes. And my particular view of the sport comes from that perspective, from that frame of reference. In other words, if I was, say, in my early 20s and I was a boxing fan, I would think that having over 100 world champions, 17 or 18 weight divisions, and 4 champions or more for each weight division is normal. Well, for 70 years until the early 80s, that was not the case. We had normally between 8 and 10 weight divisions, and usually, for the most part, one undisputed champion for each. Now, so in other words, there were never more than 8 to 10 world champions for the 10 weight divisions, okay, or 8 weight divisions. That all changed. And boxing especially has changed since the 1980s with the proliferation of the so-called sanctioning organizations, which were basically unheard of, that you'd have 4 or more sanctioning organizations anointing world champions. So what happened was, over the years, these organizations, which thrive on what's called sanctioning fees, which means the more titles they create, the more champions they create, the more money they can charge both champion and challenger. So over the past few decades, we now have literally, nobody knows the exact number of champions, but literally over 100 world champions and 18 weight divisions, which is kind of absurd.
So to your use of the word absurd, my read is, and I was just about to go there, my read is that over these 60 years of watching boxing, you think it's gone down the rabbit hole. These changes have been for the worse, not for the better. That's how you read it? Absolutely.
And it's affected boxing safety. It has had a negative effect. Now, boxing, we all know, it's a dangerous sport. Of course, the main target is the head. What is a knockout? A knockout is another word for concussion. Okay, so we're talking about a dangerous sport. And the idea of the book, as I was right, we all understand boxing can never be made completely safe.
Right.
But you can mitigate the danger. If you, and that was the entire idea of my book. What happens now with all these champions and all these sanctioning organizations, you have, and naming their own contenders, and a champion recognized by one organization will never appear amongst the contender listings of another organization, which means that might be a top contender that would be a great challenger for another organization's champion, and it's rare that they get together. So what happens is you have a thin talent pool, thinned out even more.
Yeah.
And this creates a situation where you will have one of the 100 or so title fights each year, and many times there will be an experienced champion, good quality, who is now fighting somebody who's not nearly at his level. But for some reason, and many times it's not exactly legitimate, he has achieved a top 10 rating and therefore is entitled to a title shot.
Hold that thought, Mike. I want to pick up on that note because you're pushing toward this notion that you raised earlier about how we mitigate the danger when what you just laid out does in fact happen. We'll pick the story up there when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Hope, agency, dignity. This is Tavis Smiley.
Can you dig it? Come on!
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Hey, KBLA 1580 delegation. Your health matters to us. We know that information is power, especially when it comes to prevention and treatment. That's why we're proud to introduce the brand new KBLA Health and Wellness Hub. This online space is built just for you, connecting our community to trusted health resources, culturally relevant care, and even access to diverse clinical trials and emerging therapies. Whether you're looking for information on common conditions, mental health support, or just want to stay on top of your wellness wellness journey, we got you. And the best part, it's all on our website at KBLA1580.com. Accessible, empowering, community focused. So just go to KBLA1580.com and click on the Health and Wellness Hub icon, because knowledge is power and your health is everything. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
This sandwich, it's a complete game changer. Hello, this is Mike, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Pretzel Cheddar Club is that juicy chicken with that toasty pretzel bun. That bun, it's crispy, cozy, just amazing. With the pretzel bun, the Dijon mustard, and the chicken, it makes that sweet, savory kind of combination. It's everything that you love about food rolled into one. It looks phenomenal. It tastes great. It's delicious.
Order the Pretzel Cheddar Club with Cherry Berry and Sprite for a limited time on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Stop settling for weak sound. It's time to level up your game and bring the boom. Hit the town with the ultra-durable LG X Boom portable speaker and enjoy vibrant sound wherever you go. Elevate your listening experience to new heights, because let's be real, your music deserves it. The future of sound is now with LG X Boom. And for a limited time, save 25% at LG.com with code FALL25. Bring the boom. X Boom.
Do you have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is letting everyone know about great debt relief options now available to help people with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of your credit card debt. Get a free debt relief consultation when you call 800-259-9922. 800-259-9922. That's 800-259-9922.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Mike Silver. I want to slow down just a little bit. He was running away from me. I want to slow him down just a little bit, Mike, because you're running so fast. I didn't get a chance. You're jabbing me to death, man. You're jabbing me to death. I didn't get a chance to ask you, who sanctions these sanctioning organizations? I love the way you laid out the fact that over the years, we've seen so many sanctioning organizations. They all have their own champions. I get it. But who actually sanctions the sanctioning organizations?
Well, they have no legal authority.
Right.
Okay. But they're given a lot of leeway by the state athletic commissions or the overseas, the country's athletic commissions, because boxing doesn't have one centralized organization. Mm-hmm. So they provide a semblance of organization. Boxing is a very fragmented sport today. So even though, they have no official legal status, they are given status by the athletic commissions. Mm-hmm. And many a time the promoters take advantage of this. They will pressure the sanctioning organization to rate a fighter higher than he should be. They will insist on a certain referee. I cover all this in the book, but I want to bring up a point that, just not to overwhelm the audience, but to show two examples of what I mean here. We just saw Crawford and Canelo Alvarez in that fight. Yep. Huge fight, 70,000 people.
Yeah.
That was a fight between two, even though Crawford won, in my opinion, most of the rounds, it was not a mismatch. These are two experienced fighters. Yes, Canelo was a bit over the hill, but they were both skillful. There was really no danger in this fight. It was a good, people were satisfied with it.
Sure.
Crawford was great, performance. Crawford has 37 or 38 fights. Canelo about 57 or 58 fights. As I say, he's about a year or two past his prime. Okay, that's a fight that everybody can appreciate. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm sure you may be aware, Travis, that in August, for the first time in boxing's modern history, two professional fighters were killed in separate fights on the same card. That it happened in Tokyo. Were you aware of that?
I was aware of that, yes.
Yes. And okay, this is a perfect example of the difference between Canelo Alvarez, it was for the title, mm-hmm. and in the main event, in that one of the fighters that unfortunately was fatally injured, that was for the Oriental, one of these titles, something Oriental, whatever it was. Now, both of these fighters had barely a dozen professional fights, mm-hmm. and they were fighting a 12-round contest. The fighter who was fatally injured had only 11 fights. What was he doing in a 12-round title fight? He clearly had never gone 12 rounds. In fact, he had gone, I think he only went 8 rounds twice.
Right.
He was not ready. But this happens all the time today because, again, there's a proliferation of these titles and too many boxers who are not ready for the distance, who don't have the experience. They're not properly taught defense. That's another problem with the training of the fighters, that you see very little skillful defense. It's a very aggressive style of fighting, which, okay, fine. The fans like that. But to have it for 12 rounds, you are asking for trouble.
So who reins in? Who reins in? Back to these sanctioning organizations again. Who reins these organizations in that are putting on fight after fight after fight, and oftentimes, to your point, with people who don't deserve, ought not to be in the ring in the first place? Who reins this in?
Well, the state athletic commissions have every right to rein them in.
Right.
If it's overseas, a country's boxing commission, who's ever in charge, they have the authority to rein them in. But again, a lot of the power in this sport is the promoters, the major promoters. Okay, and if a state athletic commission says to the promoter, we're or the sanctioning organization, we're not comfortable with this fight. It looks like a mismatch to us. The odds are 10-1, and we're not comfortable. Well, the promoter could say to that, and they've done this, they said, either prove it or we'll just move to another state and we won't come back to you. And many times the state commissions cave. They want the fight, they want the title fight, they want the tax revenues and so on. And the problem is that boxing, unlike other sports, does not have a centralized authority.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a strange question to ask, given that you and I both have referenced Canelo and Crawford in this conversation. But let me just ask point blank, because there are those obviously on record saying they believe this to be the case. Is boxing dead? Is boxing as we know it dead?
Boxing is not dead. It's going through seismic changes right now. It's one of those periods in history. It's funny. I've always say boxing reflects the culture that surrounds it. Look at the world around us. Are we going? I think we're going crazy. I know what's happening.
No, I think you're right about that part. Yeah.
And boxing is going a little crazy. Professional boxing has had major changes throughout its history. And the first major change in the 1890s was the implementation of the Marquess of Queensberry rules, which outlawed bare knuckle boxing and had fighters fight with gloves and limited to 3-minute rounds and so on, and a 10 count. And that was a major change, and boxing really came into its own in the 1920s. And believe it or not, without a centralized authority, it basically ran itself pretty well. Titles went from one champion to another. There were once in a while you had 2 champions recognized, but they usually came together to fight it out and see who was the undisputed champion. So boxing was pretty organized in that way. It had its flaws, let's face it. There was a lot of criminal infestation. There were fixed fights, but it basically was well ordered, okay? And you could follow the sport. As I say, there were never more than 8 or 10 world champions and never more than 8 or 10 weight divisions. All that changed in the 1980s, and with the rise of the sanctioning organizations, there's a reason behind that.
Let me ask whether or not we are past the criminality in the world of boxing.
We're past the type of criminality where a guy would come in with a cigar and
exactly
and say, "Hey, you got to go down in the 6th round." No. Today it's corrupt in another way. You can fix a fight through fixing the ratings. Okay, you want to make sure.
Explain that. What do you mean by that?
Okay, well, the ratings are decided by each sanctioning organization, and it has been proven in the past that fighters were advanced through payoffs, paying off the under the table, paying off the sanctioning organization, and a fighter suddenly went from nowhere to be rated number 1. And when this began in the early 80s, I knew immediately this is very dangerous. And sure enough, one of the most publicized ring fatalities occurred within a couple of years. And that was, if you recall, Ray Mancini, who knocked out Doku Kim, who was killed in the 14th round of that fight. Doku Kim was an obscure fighter, and nobody heard of him. He had beaten nobody. But believe it or not, the WBA rated him number one without any reason other than that they wanted to give Mancini an easy title defense. He was a very popular fighter on television. So what happened was poor Doku Kim fought his heart out, but he was mismatched. He took a terrible beating and finally went down and out for good in the 14th round.
So speaking of terrible beatings, we've talked about the criminality in boxing not being at least what it used to be. What about the refereeing in boxing these days?
I have a big issue with the refereeing in boxing. First off, I have a lot of sympathy for the referees. They're under tremendous pressure. If they're perceived as stopping a fight too soon, they may never work another fight again. Okay?
Right.
If they stop a fight too late, by the way, which isn't as bad as stopping a fight too early, as absurd, as terrible as that sounds.
Yeah.
But if they stop a fight too late and the fighter is severely injured or worse, they'll be back next month. They'll be back refereeing. So, but I'm very upset with the performance of referees that I've watched as many fights as I could over the past 3 years while researching this book. And many referees just wait too long to stop a fight. And so you can even hear the announcers. I've documented the fights in the book where the announcer's saying, why isn't the referee stopping this fight? They can see it, but the referee hesitates because he's under a lot of pressure.
Yep.
And let
me ask about the judges. That's referees. I want to ask about judges. In advance of the Canelo fight, I think you know from our last conversation that I love to box. I'll be in the ring later today, as a matter of fact. I love it. I love the sweet science, and as dangerous a sport as it is, there's a reason they call it the sweet science. And there's so many lessons I learn every day from being in that boxing ring. And I don't have time to just, to break it down, but I find myself speaking metaphorically all the time about boxing. Every point I want to make to somebody, I compare it to a boxing match. So I find myself using boxing metaphors all the time because I actually love, it wears me out and it works me out, but I love being in the ring for a variety of reasons, as dangerous as the sport may be. Having said that, with regard to the Canelo Crawford fight, so I posited before the fight, Mike, here's what I said. People ask me, who you got? I said, here's what I love Bud Crawford, but I said that if Canelo is still on his feet at the end of the last round, at 12th round, if he's still on his feet, I worry that the judges will give it to Canelo. Now, if Bud knocks him out or knocks him down a few times, that's different. But if Canelo is still standing at the end of this fight, I am concerned that he may get the victory. And you know why I said that, because I've lived long enough, as have you, to see how the judges show up in situations like these, and they always have a way to justify whatever decision they make. But talk to me about modern day judging in boxing.
Well, that's another problem. Those scores in the Crawford Canelo fight, were off, in my opinion. In fact, I think two of the judges had the fight Crawford winning by only 2 points or 4. Now, I'm sorry, that says something wasn't right here. They were leaning towards Canelo, who you could say is the A fighter. Okay, what do I mean by A fighter? He draws the bigger crowd. Sure.
Okay. He made the most money, as he should have for that fight.
As he should have.
Sure.
Exactly. So the idea is, I was very suspicious that they were favoring Canelo in a lot of those rounds, that to me, it appeared that Crawford had won. And I can only assume that for whatever, that they know, again, the judges are picked because if they appear to be cooperative and understand how the game is played, and want to be in the next fight, judging a major fight. So I think they were favoring Canelo and hoping he would win. But They couldn't do it because it would have been an outrageous.
No,
scandal.
they couldn't do it. That's my point. I said if Canelo's still standing, I was afraid they may give it to him. But Crawford so thoroughly dominated him that it was hard. It would have been hard to justify it that particular night. But I digress on that. My time is getting tight. I got a few minutes left. Yeah. I asked you earlier if boxing is dead. Boxing may not be dead, but surely, at least to my mind, the heavyweight division is dead. When you think of all the great heavyweights, how did that happen? How did the heavyweight division die?
Well, there were no American heavyweights. If we got an exciting, good, solid American heavyweight, if, who was, great to watch, right. I think that the heavyweight division would come back. But, the heavyweight champions have gone overseas. Yeah. The current heavyweight champion is Usyk. I think there are two, Usyk, and they one of the organizations stripped him of the title for not defending it. But the point is, Usyk is now the best heavyweight. Hardly anybody knows who he is unless you're into boxing. You remember the days when everybody knew the name of the heavyweight champion.
No, I get it.
Boxing has tremendous potential. Yep. We know that. We saw it in the Canelo Crawford fight, but it always kicks itself in the head. Yeah. I got less than 2 minutes left, Mike. I want to give you a chance very quickly to say, to speak to this point of how we mitigate the danger. The book is called When in Doubt, Stop the Bout. Tell me very quickly how we mitigate the danger to these boxers. Okay, because boxing has changed and we have these thin talent pool of the inexperienced fighters fighting 12-round fights when 50, 60 years ago, they would be fighting 6-round fights, preliminaries in Madison Square Garden. Right. So in order to protect these fighters, we have to lower the scheduled number of rounds.
Got it.
We must do that. In fact, we should eliminate 12-round fights, okay? And 10-round fights should be only fighters who are well-matched, where it's like the fight we just saw last week. Otherwise, virtually every fight should not be beyond more than 5 or 6 rounds. Yeah. When the fighter has proven he can, he has definite skills and has over 50 rounds, professional rounds of experience, then you can move him up to 8-round fights. But you cannot keep having these fighters thrown into 12-round fights. It's a mistake. Yeah. And by the way, in the last 20 years, there are 14 of the 181 fighters who've been in the last 25 years who've been killed in the ring. 14 were in title fights. Yeah. 14, yeah. And all of those deaths happened between the 10th and the 12th rounds.
Too many rounds. No, I take your point. I'm out of time, Mike. I take your point. I hope my trainer's listening right now. I'm all for lowering the number of rounds. I am all for lowering, Terry, the number of rounds that Tavis has to go. The book is called When in Doubt, Stop the Bout, A Revolutionary Approach to Boxing Safety and Reform, written by the boxing historian Mike Silver. Mike, congrats on the book. Thanks for the conversation, man. Appreciate having you on.
Thank you for having me, Tavis.
My pleasure, Mike. My pleasure, brother. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
What's your quarrel with the world? You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A man is in custody after a deadly shooting at a North Carolina waterfront restaurant. Southport Police Chief Todd Coring explains.
We got calls to our 911 center about shots fired at the establishment that people were taking fire.
Police say Nigel Edge killed 3 and injured 5 before fleeing by boat. Edge appears in court today. Black Florida Representative Byron Donalds is gaining momentum in the governor's race with endorsements from 15 sheriffs, including Miami-Dade and Hillsborough. Backed by President Trump, Donalds leads in GOP polls and positions himself as the law and order and MAGA candidate. And Snoop Dogg is heading to Italy as a roving correspondent for NBC's 2026 Winter Olympics. After winning 2 sports Emmys for his Paris coverage, he'll bring his signature style to Milan Cortina, followed by the Paralympics in March. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Want to save a few bucks this season? Then head over to your local Big O Tires for their Save a Buck sales event. You'll save up to $250 on select sets of tires with paid installation through October 19th. The Save a Buck sales event, now at your local Big O Tires.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Rams are 3-1 after beating the Indianapolis Colts Sunday 27-20 at SoFi. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford connected with Tutu Atwell for an 88-yard touchdown pass with 1:33 left in the fourth quarter. The Chargers suffered their first defeat of the season, a 21-18 loss to the New York Giants. The Giants were 0-3. Rookie quarterback Jackson Dart, making his first NFL start, had a touchdown pass and ran for another TD. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert was intercepted twice. Sad news for USC women's basketball star Juju Watkins. The Compton native will miss the entire upcoming season to continue rehabbing a torn ACL in her right knee. Watkins was injured March 24th in a second-round NCAA tournament game against Mississippi State. The Dodgers will play Cincinnati in the first round of the National League playoffs. Game 1 in the best-of-5 is Tuesday night at 6 at Dodger Stadium. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
Whoa,
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hard rock style is coming to the Central Valley, just 30 minutes south of Bakersfield off Route 99. You'll find world-class gaming and entertainment. Less drive time equals more playtime. The all-new Hard Rock Casino Tejon. Opening soon.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com. If you have a 2004 or newer vehicle that's out of warranty or about to be, Endurance is urgently notifying U.S. drivers about their low-cost vehicle coverage plan designed to save drivers thousands on rising vehicle repair costs. Those who qualify can pick their plan, coverage, and repair shop. Roadside service, towing, and rental cars included. All covered repairs get paid directly to the repair shop for you. Call now for your free quote. Call 800-373-7519. That's 800-373-7519.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte. Let's preserve Black land stories before they're lost forever. I want to personally invite you to be a part of something historic. As journalist in residence for the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, I've joined forces with powerhouse attorney and social justice champion George Fothery, the man who helped make history by delivering justice to the Bruce family in Manhattan Beach, securing the first known return of land unjustly taken from Black owners by a local government. That victory was monumental, but it was just the beginning. For generations, Black families have acquired land through grit, faith, and determination, only to lose it through violence, legal loopholes, forced sales, and systematic racism. What's been taken goes far beyond dirt and deeds. It's the erasure of wealth, identity, and legacy. That's why we've launched the Black Land Lost Narrative Archive Project, a national effort to collect, protect, and preserve the stories of Black land lost before they're buried, forgotten, or erased altogether. Because there's power in telling Black stories, there is resistance in remembering, and there's justice in being seen and heard. This is where you come in. We're inviting you to be a part of this historic Black narrative archive. If you or someone you know has experienced land loss, displacement, or forced property sales, your story deserves to be heard and remembered. Your story belongs in this archive. Your truth matters not just to your family, but to our collective future. Visit blacklandloss.org today. Fill out our simple intake form and add your voice to the National Archive of Remembrance, Resilience, and Reckoning. Let's make these stories live on, not in whispers, but on the record. With a KBLA Talk 1580 editorial, I'm Dr. Nicolai Corte, and as always, we welcome your feedback.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-$300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MAJOR25 to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MAJOR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MAJOR25 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Less monologue, more dialogue. Tavis Smiley continues right now.
We close the show today as promised in conversation with one of the founding members of the iconic reggae band UB40, Robin Campbell. Robin, how are you?
I'm fine, Tavis. How are you?
Man, if I complained, I'd be an ingrate. I'm doing well. Take me all the way back. It's been almost 50 years now. How did UB40 come together?
Well, we've been a gang of friends since we were kids. So we didn't really come together to form a band. We were already together as a mob. and we talked about forming a band since we were kids, you know, and finally, we got it together.
Yeah. Were you all music lovers? I mean, it's one thing to be kids running around hanging out and decide you're gonna start a band, but who was musically inclined? Like, how did that part happen?
Well, I think we were all musically inclined, but I've grown up surrounded by music all my life. My father was a professional musician, so we grew up surrounded by music and musicians. So it never seemed like a strange idea, you know. We didn't have parents that told us to get a proper job. It was always supported, you know. So all of us always talked about it from when we were kids.
Yeah. How did reggae become the lane that you guys decided to run in?
Well, when it was invented in the late 60s, we were listening to, because where we lived was a immigrant population. So we grew up surrounded by Jamaican pop music when it was ska, you know. So when it turned into reggae in the late 60s, it just became the music that we loved and heard everywhere we went, you know. So we were surrounded by that music as well. Yeah. When we formed the band, there was no question we were never going to do anything but play reggae.
So there was never any doubt about that. It was always reggae from the start.
the only music we wanted to play.
Wow. And what is it? And what is it about reggae? I know you've thought about this 1,000 times over the years, I'm sure. What is it about reggae that pulled you all in? So you made it abundantly clear this is what you guys were going to do. There was no other choice, no other genre that interested the group, the members of the band. But what is it about reggae that pulled you guys?
I really don't know. I think it was so different to anything else. It was so danceable. It was sexy. We just fell in love with it when it happened. We were, as I say, we were listening to Jamaican pop music beforehand, and that was ska. And when it slowed down and the bass got bigger, and it just became the music we all fell in love with.
Yep. I've been at this long enough to know that when it comes to music and pretty much everything else, but certainly in music, everybody starts out copying somebody. You're listening to somebody, you're influenced by somebody, you start out trying to sound like somebody, and somewhere along the way, you discover your own voice. You find your own way of doing what you do. Tell me about that particular journey of finding your own voice as a band, UB40.
Well, you absolutely summed it up. That's how we started, by copying records. But we were learning to play, I've been playing a guitar since I was a kid, but not reggae, obviously.
Yeah.
We just started by copying a few records, until we did it 5 days a week, every week, for about 6 months, and just played together until we formed our own sound. It was it's serendipity. There was no plan, we didn't work it out. We just played together until we got a sound that was ours. Yep. And there was no plan to it. It's just the way it works when you get a bunch of individuals together, and the sound they make is it's luck.
Talk to me about the songwriting for UB40.
Well, we have the same songwriters still in the band. There's still I think there were 3 of us originally. Brian, our sax player, was a prolific lyricist. He's passed away. But myself and Jimmy were the other 2 main lyricists, and we're still in the band. So, you still got the same lyricists that we've always had. And, we used to just bring songs to the band, and the band jammed together and put the music together. That was that simple, really. Very long-winded and simple process.
Yep. We'll talk when we come forward here about the tour dates that you guys are on here in the U.S. But I also want to talk about, when we come forward, how this band has stayed together all these years. There are certain bands that come to mind. Rolling Stones, of course, immediately come to mind. But there's some bands that have been together for a very, very long time. UB40 now, almost 50 years of doing what it is that they do. They're on a U.S. tour. We'll talk about that part with Robin Campbell when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy. In 2011, I founded Wesley Financial Group with one goal in mind: to help honest folks out of their timeshares permanently. Today, I run Wesley with my 2 sons, a real family business, treating every client and every employee like we'd want our own family treated. That philosophy has helped us grow into the largest, most trusted timeshare cancellation company in the United States. Fortune magazine even recognized us as one of the best places to work. Why? Because we genuinely care. In fact, some of our former clients were so moved by their experience working with us, they joined our team so they could help others to timeshare freedom. If you're stuck in a timeshare, give us a call. Let our family help your family.
Call Wesley now for your free timeshare exit kit. 800-687-7979. That's 800-687-7979. 800-687-7979.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-297-1563 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-297-1563. That's 800-297-1563. What do you have to lose? Call 800-297-1563. Again, 800-297-1563.
More honesty than you can handle. More empowerment than you can imagine. You're tuned in to Tavis Smiley.
Robin Campbell, tell me about this track. It's one of your early hits. It's called King. It's about MLK. Tell me about this track all those years ago.
Well, yeah, it was that was a lyric by Jimmy Brown, I think, our drummer. It was just a kind of a lament, really, about the passing of Martin Luther King.
Yeah. A lament, to use your word. How has the band made decisions over the years about how, I'm using this word in air quotes, how political you want to be in your lyricism?
Well, we don't have hard and fast rules, you know. I mean, I guess we're angry men. And, you know, if you've got something to say, then say it, you know. And we all pretty much feel the same way about things. We're all musically and politically, you know, in alignment. So it's not that difficult, really, when people feel passionately about things. If one of the band brings a lyric to the band, it's not very often that we'll disagree with the content. So it's fairly easy, really.
Almost a half century later, are you still angry? And what are you angry about these days?
Probably a bit more cynical than I was as a youth. I thought we might be able to change things, you know. But I'm still angry. Of course I am. It's in fact I find it quite depressing that things don't get any better.
Yeah. When you've been an artist for that long, I often say, Robin, that artists are the gatekeepers of truth. I love music artists because at their best in their songwriting, they are the gatekeepers of truth. And you've been an artist for this long, and you are a citizen of the world, and you think about all the performances and all the lyricism and all that you've tried to do. And to your point, you don't see things changing so much. You process that how a half century later?
Well, you just learn to live with it, like in life, you know. It's all you can do is just keep saying the same thing, you know. Keep saying what you want to say, and try and bring people's attentions to it. I mean, you really, in the end, you're only writing the lyrics for yourself because it's something that you want to say, that you want to get out. You don't expect it to change the world. You just have to say things that you're passionate about.
Yeah. I hear you. And you guys are still doing it again, almost a half century later. When we come forward in our remaining moments with Robin Campbell of UB40, we'll talk about how they have kept this band together all these years. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom. Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail, and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewdd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more, all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada, member FDIC.
Helping to make you the most knowledgeable person in your circle of friends. This is Tavis Smiley.
Tears I cried for you, for what you put me through. It's a pain in my eyes that to see. If you be, yes, my heart will keep bleeding. When I call your name, say nothing. Just take my hand, say nothing. When I hold you tight, say nothing. Until the sunlight breaks tonight. You stand with tears in your eyes. I sit in silence, wondering why. Wanting to walk you so close. I will never, never let you go. When I pull you close, say
all right, Robin, it's been almost 50 years. UB40, you guys are still making music. We'll talk about the new music in just a second here. But how do you keep a band together this long, man?
Well, I guess it's because we didn't come together to form a band. We were a gang of friends already. And I think we'd already decided we liked each other. We all had, similar tastes and objectives. So we didn't fall out like other bands do, because we didn't have different musical differences is the usual excuse, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we've always pretty much had the same objectives and the same ambitions, and and we like each other.
Yep. And to still be making music, new music, all these years later. Talk to me about that part.
Well, that's the reason we're still together, I think, is to make new music. We love making music and constantly trying to make a better album than the last one. I think that's what all bands try to do. But yeah, we're constantly touring, and when we're not touring, we're in the studio. So it's a cycle, that we love.
Yeah.
As soon as we've made new music, you want to get out there and get the seal of approval from the fans. Play them a few tracks off your new album, but also, of course, play them the classics that they expect to hear as well.
Yep. And after all these years, you personally, you're not tired of all the touring yet, Robin?
Well, the actual traveling, is exhausting.
Yeah.
When you've put a few million miles on the clock, then yeah, it's that gets tiring. There's no way of making that pleasant, really. Hotels, airports, and venues, but what you do it for is the shows. Those couple of hours that you spend on stage is what it's all about. It's the relationship you have with your audience. It's the the making of music and that sort of emotional connection that you have with an audience, and you can't find a replacement for that.
Yep. Finally, say a word then about your U.S. tour this time around.
Well, it's extensive as always. It's 30 odd dates we're doing, and we're getting close. We've only got a couple of weeks left now, so we're nearly finished. But then we've got plenty of other places. It never stops. We get home and then we'll finish working on the album that we've already started. And plus, we've got other places to go too. But we'll be back probably next year again, I would say. But I think the next one we're going to is India.
Wow. You guys, to your point, stay on the road all the time when you're not in studio, and they are touring the U.S. with a number of dates, UB40, and what a great honor to talk to Robin Campbell, one of the founders of this iconic band, almost 50 years now, still doing what they do. Robin, enjoyed the tour. Thanks for the conversation. Good to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you, Tavis. It's been fun.
My pleasure. Thank you. Just like that, 3 hours gone. Back here tomorrow to if I can say it, to do it all over again. Until tomorrow, thanks for tuning in. As always, keep the faith.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. A man is in custody after a deadly shooting at a North Carolina waterfront